Now, folks, all folks out there, we know it is important for any business, home, to be or business or home to be equipped and prepared for an emergency, right? From fire extinguishers and alarm systems to safety training and inspections, having the right protections in place can make all of that difference when seconds count. And there is a place out there known as Fox Valley Fire and Safety. They come in, they're dedicated to keeping families, employees, and property safe. They provide professional fire protection services, reliable equipment, and expert guidance tailored to each customer's needs. They have a strong commitment to safety, compliance, and community. Fox Valley Fire and Safety helps to ensure that peace of mind before an emergency ever happens. And today we have the president and CEO, Scott Volkening, with us here in studio to talk with us about this today. Thank you so much for joining us today in WRMN Studio 14.
Thank you, Matt. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are the president and CEO. What kind of got you interested in starting in this position?
Well, I started when I was probably 14 years old, washing trucks at Fox Valley.
Okay.
It's runs in my family.
Nice.
Both my sisters work at Fox Valley, and my brother works at Fox Valley. So yeah, I've been in the fire life safety industry my entire life. Like I said, I started at 14 washing trucks at Fox Valley, moved to refilling fire extinguishers in the shop, went out in the field. So I've done everything from installing Ansel systems, installing fire alarm systems, reaming pipe for sprinkler systems, testing fire pumps. I ended up moving to Arizona and going into the same industry there. And in 2010, I decided to come back. And when the old regime retired, I took over as president and CEO. And I think it was January 4th of 2024.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So this
That's
is
awesome.
this is in my blood.
I love it. That's great. And I know Fox Valley Fire and Safety. I've been serving the Chicagoland area since 1960, growing from a single truck operation to a large employee-owned company. So, how's your company's mission and culture evolved through that growth, and what are some of the core values that have remained constant?
I'll tell you, 65 years is a long time for any
Hmm.
business, right? And we look forward to the next 65 years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm guessing I won't be in the same position. It'd be pretty amazing if I was. But yeah, we started with the idea of two brother-in-laws decided that they believed they could efficiently service fire extinguishers up and down the Fox Valley corridor, right? The river,
Hmm.
up and down
Yep.
the Fox Valley River. So now we've grown into between Fox Valley and our sister company, Chicago Metro Fire Prevention, we've grown to a company of about 400 employees, and we service every gambit of fire life safety, from fire alarm, fire extinguishers, kitchen suppression, fire sprinkler, fire pump, backflows, everything that you need to keep your building safe. The core values that have remained are protecting the lives and property and working with our clients.
Hmm.
Nothing
Absolutely.
in that realm has changed at all.
Well, and thank you for your service and what you're doing
Hmm,
and the company's
thank
doing,
you.
because we want to ensure that everyone's always safe and prepared too. It's very important. You've got such an impact. Companies become 100% employee owned through an ESOP. Now, how has employee ownership influenced your business culture, service quality, and even some client relationships too?
I believe your audience. A lot of people probably don't know what the ESOP, is. ESOP is a employee stock ownership program.
Okay.
It's a government program that allows a company to go ESOP and give shares back to the employees.
Okay.
With that, in 2000, we initially in 1997, we partially became an ESOP when the first set of owners, the two brothers that I talked about, had sold to the ownership that was bought out in 2017. In 2017, we became 100% ESOP. So basically, it's every single employee has an investment in the company.
Okay.
Changes the parameters, changes completely how you run the company, right?
Hmm.
So the salesperson, the technician, everybody has a vested interest in the success of the company.
Hmm.
So the technician that shows up at your building, whatever they're servicing, is an employee owner of our company.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't usually hear too much about ESOPs. So that's
I don't know how many there are. The big one that I remember of the commercial when I was younger was Enterprise.
okay.
Enterprise, we're
Hmm.
all employee owners. So that is a good example of a big company that's an ESOP.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an avenue to have a qualified retirement program
Mhm.
for our where every year the board of directors, depending on how the company does, releases shares to the employees.
That's great. That security is great too to
It's
have.
it's security, and we have a lot of employees that have benefited a lot from being in the ESOP.
That's great.
The longer term employees, the Fox Valley, we hire employees. We only hire employees with the intention for them to retire at Fox Valley.
Mhm.
So, and with the ESOP, we hope they're happy, and we believe our clients, feel the same way.
I think that's great. That stands out for a business. That's awesome. You also do have the comprehensive service model. Fox Valley Fire and Safety markets itself as quote a one company that does it all for fire and life safety, from design and installation to monitoring, inspection, and compliance. So, how do you ensure consistency and high standards across such a wide range of different services?
Training.
Okay.
Training is very, very, very important. All of our technicians are state licensed, certified, and factory trained. Um, but yes, we have a wide gambit of offerings in the fire life safety industry. Pretty much everything. Um, so we have specialists, right? We have
Hmm.
someone who's a specialist in sprinkler system inspections. That same person who's a specialist in the sprinkler systems, we want him to know enough about fire alarm systems, right? When you test the sprinkler system, you have to disable the fire alarm system. So he knows enough about fire alarm systems, and he knows extinguishers, right? Extinguishers have certain intervals of testing and maintenance. And so that sprinkler technician should know enough about fire alarm and fire extinguishers to um, intelligently talk to the customer on their needs.
Hmm.
But yeah, we training is optimal.
That's important too, and specific training is going to be different for each field, right? And especially with other things that come up too. I know technology is one of them, which we'll definitely discuss a bit here too. When it comes to adapting to code and technology changes, so fire protection codes. There's a lot of standards. Life safety technology are constantly changing. So, how does your team stay up to date with all these different technologies?
It's another great question, and yeah. So, um, keeping up on codes in our industry is not optional, right?
Hmm.
Codes are ever always evolving, right? Sometimes they're retroactive, sometimes they're proactive, but um, yeah, our technicians are constantly trained. We send them away, to get training, factory training, and state certified. Like I said, we have some employees that are on committees that help write the codes. And
Okay.
we feel, and as they write the codes, they go out, they'll help assist in the writing of the codes for National Fire Protection Association, which is NFPA. That's the code and standard that the United States really follows. There's also other standards and codes, but they go out, they help write the codes and standards. They'll come back and they'll train our employees. We also work hand in hand with the fire marshals, fire chiefs, authority having jurisdictions. Um, the first responders.
Hmm.
Every year we have multiple training sessions that we put on at different locations. We have one coming up at the Schaumburg Boomer Stadium,
Nice.
where last year we had about 100 and I think it was 105 fire officials attend, where we go over what's on top of mind. So we work
Hmm.
together with them. Right now, I'll say top of mind for a lot of the um, code officials are data storage, right?
Hmm.
UPS battery housing, right? Because batteries can propagate lithium ion batteries. So that's really what we've been concentrating on. And there's also new suppression systems for kitchens that have come out
Hmm.
that actually last month we put on a training at the Northern Illinois Fire Association's monthly meeting.
Okay. So that, yeah, I mean, again, with the technologies changing, recent changes, company respondents, of course, there's people that are specifically trained in that. So
Yeah.
very good.
There's a lot of also I'm just got a couple other things
Hmm.
that I mean in our industry, a hospital, the codes of a hospital, the requirements of a hospital are a lot different than a restaurant,
Hmm.
right? The codes in downtown Chicago at a 100-story high rise are different than a one-story building either in Rockford, or Elgin. So we work with, like I said, we work with the fire officials to see what's required. We're constantly in tune with them. We talk to them. We have meetings with them. It's up to our technicians and our salespeople to go out and introduce them and meet all the officials that really are the people who are making sure your building's safe.
Mhm. Absolutely. And like you said too, every specific building or business specific category is going to be a little different too. So you have
Absolutely.
specific people who'll be able to accommodate with that, which is great. Awesome.
There's I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
you're
going
good.
on, but
Absolutely. Yeah, you're
there's
good.
one thing in particular that has just happened recently in Chicago. We don't know who did it, but there was a Chicago Fire Department noticed that on the standpipe valves in the stairwells and in some hallways, there was some, don't know the company, but someone was putting on the wrong standpipe valves. So
Ah,
basically, this what happens is in a fire condition, the fire department uses these valves to connect their hoses to. And Chicago has their own thread, which is somewhat reverse of national thread. It turns the opposite way, and that's Chicago only, and it's a special fitting and valve for that. But they noticed that someone was putting on the wrong valves and replacing the wrong valves.
hmm.
So we worked with Chicago Fire Department, got it out to all the property managers, blogged on the issues. We gave all of our technicians and salespeople a valve to take out to verify in the buildings, and told our clients what to look for.
That's great. So you're also messengers to other folks as well. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's good.
We say we're in the fire life safety industry. We're all in this together.
Hmm.
All the companies, our competitors, our peers, the fire departments, authority having jurisdictions. We're all there to save the lives and property.
Absolutely. Of course, there's client education and safety culture beyond installing systems. It's also important for people to be educated and being prepared. So, how does Fox Valley Fire and Safety help educate clients and communities about prevention, preparedness, and employee training, even if it's in-person services, whether it's at their home or their business, or even out at live events too?
Well, we education is a large part of our company that a lot of people don't see, right? We do offer fire extinguisher training where we'll come to your business and we call it our demo division. We'll come out and we'll demo fire extinguishers and we'll train people how to use a fire extinguisher. There's a lot of pressure in a 10-pound fire extinguisher, 5-pound fire extinguisher that people are unexpecting. It packs a punch, right?
Hmm.
And you hold it a certain way and sweep it as with the fire and stand about 10 feet away. So we're constantly training the public. We have our salespeople and our technicians, right? They are really the face of Fox Valley because they're in front of our clients, or we consider our clients our partners, right?
Hmm.
We're in this together. We're there to help you protect your lives and property of your building and the people around the building, and help the first responders. But we are, but our salespeople and our technicians will go out and they'll train and help train. Like if we're doing a sprinkler inspection, we'll go over what's required on an annual basis. Like right now, it's cold outside, right?
Hmm.
There's dry sprinkler systems in parking garages and in places that are not climate controlled. So will educate the building manager, the property manager, the engineer on site. Hey, just to make sure this you don't have issues with this, you should drain the system once a week, which a
Hmm.
lot of customers aren't aware of.
Very good. Are there specific things like, for example, fire extinguishers? Do they ever like expire? I know maybe that sounds like a silly question,
Certain
but
types do.
okay.
There's so the requirements of fire extinguishers. There's an annual test,
Hmm.
right? You have to have someone come out and we do a 10-point inspection, verify that the chemical inside isn't solid, right? By shaking it, we verify it has pressure. We do a 10-point inspection every 6 years on an ABC type fire extinguisher, which um, uh, uh, is used on all types of fires, the ABC type fire. They have a 6-year inspection, which is called a service, and then
Hmm.
they have a 12-year inspection, which is a hydro test. Each of those inspections are different, right? The
Hmm.
6-year, we we empty out the chemical, we replace the valve stem, we recharge it, we put new chemical in it, and we refill it. On a 12-year inspection, we actually have to hydro test that cylinder.
Hmm.
So we have to take it back to our office. We pump it up with 300 psi, and then verify that that extinguisher will work in a fire.
Okay, very good. I'm sure you've also worked with clients too, who maybe have things that are really outdated and they
Oh,
need to
absolutely.
get it like as soon as possible installed or fixed.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Fire departments are out there to enforce codes and requirements, but I mean, I think the city of Elgin has somewhere in the range of 2,700 inspections. I believe the
Okay.
AHJ has to complete. They have a limited amount of resources to get to every building, so it's really up to the building ownership
Mhm.
to know to learn more about fire safety and in contact ourselves or other there's companies like us to really to come out and educate them.
Very good. Now, when you're working with a specific client and maybe they ask for your service, do you usually do they give you information at first about the building and things like that, or you come kind of just already prepared with generalized things and then learn through inspections and things like that?
I mean, they can give us certain aspects of the building, right? We would if it's a one-story building for a sprinkler, they probably have one riser, right? Every town, every type of building has different. Some have detectors. If it's an unsprinkled building, you should have full detection. If it's a sprinkled building, you probably won't have full detection. So some things that our people know through training, and Google's an amazing thing, right? You
Mhm.
can Google pretty much every building. We can look outside of the building. Usually we can tell if it has a sprinkler system by it, if it has a fire department connection, a bell, stuff of that nature. So we'll come with some information, but it's up to our sales team to actually come out and survey the building and determine what is needed based upon what the fire department requires.
Okay. Now, say you have a business or a home where something was actually installed many, many years ago improperly or even in the wrong place. How do you go about doing that? And I know every situation is going to be a little different, of course,
100%.
but I'm sure you've also dealt with that too, where it's like this should have not been placed here.
Yeah, so um there's a lot of buildings that are considered grandfathered in, right?
Hmm.
And there are a lot of buildings that have stuff installed improperly. In that case, we try to work with a fire official and get their opinion, right? Because
Hmm.
last thing we want to do is go out to a building and say, "Hey, you need to upgrade everything in the building." The building owners usually aren't too happy with that, right?
Hmm.
So we work with the building owner, the fire department, and see what the building really needs per the fire department, because really the fire department's responding. I mean,
Hmm.
they're the ones responding. They're the ones that are putting their life on the line. I mean, every time that fire truck rolls, I mean, you see it. It's going
Yep.
through intersections and
Hmm.
getting so the fire department doesn't want to roll a truck unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
So, we try to mitigate that by if something's installed improperly, like a smoke, let's say a smoke detector in a kitchen of a
Hmm.
restaurant. Probably not the best idea because you have a lot of steam and that can set off false alarms. So we'll
Yeah.
work with the fire departments to see what the actual requirements for the specific building.
Okay, very good. And then say folks maybe aren't really quite sure what to do. Maybe they buy a new home or maybe it's an older home. Do you help them kind of go through that process as well too when it comes to the
Um,
your specific field, of course?
Yes, yes. Homes usually, if it's a new home, there's I think Elgin or there's a lot of towns or some towns that are implementing requirements of installing sprinkler systems on new homes.
Okay.
Some jurisdictions require it on all new homes. Some jurisdictions require it on homes of a certain size.
Hmm.
But there's not a ton of requirements in the residential, the single home. Everybody, I'll say this: everyone should have a fire extinguisher in their kitchen, right? That's
Right.
kind of where fires can start.
Hmm.
It could be a small extinguisher. You can get it from Home Depot, right? And then once that extinguisher loses pressure, you can replace it at a I'm kind of talking ourselves out of business, but
Hmm.
you can go get another one at Home Depot and get rid of the other extinguisher
Hmm.
safely and per code.
And that reminds me too for extinguishers. What's the best way for storage use for those?
Do you mean like
To store fire extinguishers, is there a particular place in a home or a business that maybe is like the best way to store it?
well, yeah, absolutely. So fire extinguishers are supposed to be placed in certain. It's really a design mandate where a kitchen,
Hmm.
right? Anywhere they're supposed to be by a front door, for example.
Yep.
Anywhere a kitchen front door. You see them in restaurants and kitchen.
Hmm.
There's a special type of extinguisher that's required for restaurants. Um, but yeah, climate controlled environments are the best for extinguishers, even though you do see them outside and on trucks and stuff like that. It's just there's a lot of wear and tear on
Hmm.
the extinguisher. if it's not in a climate controlled environment.
Okay. Well, you're giving lots of great information to us here. So thank you so much for that. We got a couple minutes left. So before we head on out, looking ahead, what are some strategic priorities for Fox Valley Fire and Safety for maybe over the next 5 to 10 years? Maybe, what are you hoping to look for in the future?
Well, it's an exciting time in the fire safety industry. Technology is advancing, integration in systems are advancing, cloud-based reporting, cloud-based testing is advancing. There's more requirements from cities. Cities are getting on a cloud-based online compliance, which is improving our industry. Right, buildings that were being ignored for a long time. Now the fire department is becoming more aware of them.
Hmm.
And that helps our industry and mitigate any sort of fire or any sort of danger for occupants. Um, the technology portion of it on like a fire alarm system, it's moving towards a total connected system. So if your fire alarm system goes off, a building engineer can have an app on his phone that will notify him and let him know of the exact device that went into alarm. So he doesn't necessarily, if it's a trouble condition on one horn strobe,
Hmm.
maybe that can wait till tomorrow. If it's a alarm on a smoke detector, okay, someone needs to get to that building right away because
Hmm.
the fire department's coming.
Okay. We're already out
Oh
of
wow.
time. I could have talked even longer to you. Scott, thank you so much for joining us today here in studio. We greatly appreciate it. And folks, if you want to check out more information, visit their website, foxvalleyfire.com. That's foxvalleyfire.com. You can call them today at 847-695-5990. And they are an emergency service. They offer a 24-hour service there. So definitely go out and support them as they are here to keep you safe as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. It
Of
was a
course.
pleasure.
Absolutely. Folks, we'll take a quick time out. We'll be back with more here on Out to Lunch, WRMN. Stay tuned.